Welcome to Blueprints for Brilliance Coaching Insights, a podcast by coaches for coaches. Our guests share their hard-won wisdom to help you grow your coaching business and create a life of success. So get ready to unlock the blueprints to your success. Welcome, everyone, to our newest episode. I'm thrilled that you're here, and I'm also thrilled to have Dr. Elyse Rast with us. Her company is Dr. Elyse Coaching, and she is a dating coach for midlife women. So welcome to the show, Elyse. I'm thrilled to have you.
Thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
So tell me a little bit about how did you become a coach, a dating coach for midlife women? I suspect there's a story behind that.
There is a story. But Jeanne, you know that sometimes when a single moment changes your entire life, for me, that moment came as a surprise, actually. I was in my early 30s. I had young children. I was overwhelmed. I was stressed. I was isolated. They went down for a nap. I'm picking up all their toys. And I turn on Oprah. So Oprah is just about to turn 50, and she says this quote from Maya Angelou, and then she says something that honestly stuck with me. I was probably about 30. It stuck with me for about 20 years, I guess longer, because I still remember it. And, she said something to the effect of, when you have a huge milestone birthday, set your life up for success. Get all of your ducks in a row. Make sure your life is exactly where you want it to be. And then when that birthday comes around, you will be so excited and you'll have so many amazing things to be proud of, and you'll have great celebrations. In my early 30s, 50 seemed really old and did not seem like a birthday I would be looking forward to having. And so when Oprah said this, I was like, seriously, if I play my cards right, and if I make some changes in the next 20 years, then I get to be excited for my birthday and I get to love being 50. It literally blew my mind. So fast forward to age 48. I still remember this. However, my life is still not fabulous, and I'm down to 2 years. So I was like, all right, Elyse, you are running out of time. Let's get down and dirty. And I looked into all the areas of my life that seemed important at the time. So it was financial freedom, romantic relationships, friendships, and my career. So then I started just making a whole lot of changes. I talked about it all the time. I read books. I got coached. I probably drove my best friend crazy. I turned 50. I checked every single one of my boxes. PhD, check. Coaching certification, check. Deep, meaningful friendships and a solid bank account, check. Even shed the weight, both physically and metaphorically, a marriage that hadn't served me well in a very long time. So I did really well. I celebrated turning 50 in Costa Rica with my closest girlfriends, but there's still one frontier that I had to face. I got rid of the bad relationships, but I wanted a new one. So that meant I had to face dating as a midlife woman. Now, mind you, the last time I dated Jeanne, I was 1995. And just to remind you, we had dial-up internet, dial-up modems and AOL. We rented VHS tapes from Blockbuster. I remember having a Spice Girls CD that I continuously played. The dating landscape looked really, really, really different from that time. And so, you know what? I thought, I am living in Oprah's energy now. So I dove in headfirst. I actually shockingly discovered that dating was crazy fun for me. I loved it. And I know this is very atypical, but it was actually one of the best experiences in my adult life. So here I am, right? I have this, it's a magic power or I'm not sure what, but I just understood all of the rules of the dating game really quickly and was able to break them all down and learn how everything works. I deciphered all of the unknowns. And then I thought, and then at the same time, my friends are divorced and they're dating and they're having such a bad time. And all of a sudden one day, it's probably Oprah somewhere in my head, I realized that this is, I can help women have a similar experience to me. It doesn't have to be a struggle. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be a full-time job. And I love that I get to demystify this experience for women, help them date with clarity and confidence, and honestly, transform nagging insecurities that middle-aged women have into triumphs. Because when you shift your perspective and approach dating from a place of possibilities, then you find your perfect person.
Wow, that is so fantastic. Dating in 95. Oh, I totally get that. The memories that came flooding back. My husband was actually English and was living in England, and I met him in Chicago. And so we dated for 2 years back and forth over the pond. It's funny you talk about phones, and I remember we got our respective companies would allow us to use the phone to make long distance calls because they were so expensive, right?
It was the first thing I thought of when you said that. Jeannie, do you mind if I share one quick story that is very relevant to that and very funny? So I'm graduating college. All these things happened at the very last minute where my long-term boyfriend I thought I was going to marry broke up with me. My amazing job prospect teaching English in Japan no longer was happening. I was graduating. I was sort of this go-getter, and I'm now graduating college with nothing. So to make myself feel better, I go to the movies. I see 4 weddings and a funeral, and I decided I was moving to London to meet Hugh Grant because it's as easy as that. I literally did. And I lived there for a year and worked at Harrods, the department store. And the one day I switched days off with someone and Hugh Grant comes into my department. The rest is history.
That is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I love traveling, and I think all people should do it no matter what. We're actually taking our kids to Ireland in June this year, so I'm really excited about that.
And it's such a great time because it'll be warm and
good stuff. I love how you're channeling Oprah's energy. You made me a little nostalgic for listening to Oprah because I haven't in years, but I do remember watching that and just getting that feeling of positivity, and you can have and do whatever you want to do. And I love that you channeled that in all the right places. I don't, however, envy the fact that you had to go back out and date at a later age, if you will, with kids as well. So kudos to you. And it's great that people like you are out there to help people who don't want to do that, but they do want to meet someone and they want to be a team in a relationship.
Really scared that and put a lot of pressure on themselves that they need to find somebody soon or they're going to be alone forever.
Some people are quite happy to be alone and more power to them, but some people don't want to be, and it's totally okay too. It's brilliant. So talk to us a little bit about maybe some clients that you've worked with. Tell us kind of where they were. Maybe they're your friends and we don't need any names, but when maybe work with them, I'm assuming you do one-on-one coaching or group coaching. Tell us.
I do both of those. You assumed. I thought of before coming on to Blueprints today, of a couple small stories of women whose stories I'll never forget, but also their energy. It resonated with me so much. And like, I'm sure 100% know, even from the short time we've known each other, Jeannie, that you feel the same way I do, that like your clients just become part of your family. They just share their successes in a way that just provides so much joy. So I am going to say names, but they're pretend names. They're aliases. So first woman, her name, we're going with Alicia. She had a really messy divorce. It took a toll on her confidence, on her self-image, but she wasn't aware of how much of a toll. Unsuccessfully. She was convinced that all he was asking her for second dates or that nothing was going anywhere because there was something wrong with her. It was all her fault, to the point where she thought, well, of course, nobody wants to be with me. Why would anyone want to be with me? She thought, she didn't have anything to offer anybody. She was boring. She was unattractive. All of those awful internal negative chatter So it turns out when we started talking, that Alicia was consciously sabotaging every date she went on and ultimately creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. She was creating this loop where her prospective partners, we don't know what they thought, but assume that some of them a little bit longer, but every single person, she sort of nitpicked them to a fault, sort of gaslit what they were saying in a way where she ended up stopping every relationship before it started. And then she got to say, you know what? See, it's true. I have all this evidence that I'm not lovable. So clearly, this is what we first worked on, eliminating many of her limiting beliefs, helping her make friends with her inner critic, letting her see all of the possibilities that were out there in the world. She was able to switch that internal monologue from one of a victim to one of kick-ass, brilliant woman who understands her self-worth and refuses to take anything less than that. So I can't remember exactly, but it was sometime around 2 months into my 90-day program when Alicia sent me a screenshot of the sweetest text that someone just sent her. And instead of downplaying it like she would have, or, somehow fault with it, she was like, you know what? I still got it. And then, and no joke, she went to Bloomingdale's and bought all the sexy lingerie because she was feeling like, of course he misses me. Of course he wants to be with me. I am a hot ticket. And my favorite part of the story actually is that maybe about 6 months, Elyse and I started working together, and she has decided that she likes dating so much that she has no desire to be in a relationship quite yet. How awesome is that, right?
That's brilliant.
And I love that she now gets to shine so brightly and just live her truth. So the other client I want to share with you, been a bit older than Alicia. She was as well almost a decade ago, but hadn't dated at all. She just really got in her head about it. She was also just, she had a decade of building up narratives inside her head about how awful this was going to be. So we took it slow. She had plenty of time to gain confidence, learn her superpowers, and get comfortable meeting new people. I love role playing first dates with conversation starters. And she learned how to date in real life because that was really important to her. And honestly, I think it's 6 months. It wasn't long. She started really liking dating. And maybe that's a stretch, but she started understanding and appreciating the experiences she gets to have. And all of the people coming into these dates were just as nervous as she was. And so she got to help them out. And a year or so after we started working together, she is now in a loving relationship with somebody who lights her up, who shows her over and over again how precious Robin is. And Robin has told me that for the first time in as long as she can remember, she can truly relax and just be herself. Make it so that even on the hard days, I feel so fortunate and so lucky to be able to help women see dating as something that they can do, that they can manage, that they can not only survive, but thrive in. And once the process is demystified and women have all the tools and strategies you need, they can relax, enjoy the ride. And something that was once a dreaded chore has now become like this cool journey and opportunity where you get to meet your person, not because you have to, but because you want to. Most people come to work with me thinking that they're looking for a partner, their ever second half of their life person. Other people come in not sure if they're ready to date, but when that's always what they think. And a lot of people do always want that and stay wanting that. But then there's, women like Alicia who are just like, you know what, like I am complete for now. I don't need somebody. This isn't like dating in my 20s when I wanted to have a family and a home and needed, and wasn't financially independent. Now she gets to live by her own rules for a while. And that's so cool.
And hopefully she's getting spoiled. She's getting attention and going out to nice meals and getting treated and spoiled. So I love that. Good for her.
I love how you live your life. So fun.
Absolutely. Well, I have a little bit of experience with that. I was married out of college and then a few years later got divorced and miserable. Go through the whole trudging through the mud and the way of too bad and fun and be with my friends. And that's what I did. And I did like a divorce recovery program and stuff just to feel like I was, make sure I went through all the motions. And when I met someone, I said, right, well, I'm not going to put up with this. I won't do that. I'm not interested in that. Here's my plan. Stick around. I don't care.
Oh my God, Jeannie, it's like you were for the same person. That is amazing. So what is this now? Just a few years out of college that you already knew how amazing you were, knew what you deserved, and refused to take anything less than that.
Easy, but at that point, and we are 26 years later married to an Englishman who played rugby. Much fun together. We have 2 kids who are almost grown and out of the house and just ready to have some even more fun. So
I love that. And, it's all about not only sharing your life with someone, but enhancing the life that you have, right? I love that you guys are still having fun and are still, it sounds like, rediscovering new activities and new things you love about each other.
And, we have great kids because we communicate well with each other. We communicate well with them and it makes life a lot easier. Yeah. And happier. Yeah. So Dr. Elyse, if somebody is feeling like they're not sure what their next steps are, is it to date? Is it just to regroup? What would be the first tip you would give them to just get on the right path?
It's really hard if you are by yourself, just do the deep internal work that oftentimes, you get from a therapist or a coach. So I might suggest someone just get in there and create a profile, put up some pictures, and then collect data. See what happens. Are you meeting any people that you actually would be interested in? And if you're not, why not, right? What can you change so that the people that you're interested in are swiping right, if you will, right? And there's so many things that you can do, right? So a big thing for me is to tell a story through your profile and your photos. Let us find out who you are, right? Share with us some things that might be surprising. Maybe throw in some humor, us in just a little bit, but enough that you're standing out from the crowd and you're showing who you are in a way that other people who connect with the sort of person you are drawn to you and will find you. And then I have a million tips from that stage. But I think most of all is to think about this as a journey, not a destination. Enjoy the ride. And above all else, stay positive. Because once that negative energy gets out there, it gets palpable. You might not know it, but it's there. And if you get to that point where things start going downhill, take a break, regroup, maybe try a new app, or look at everything out there, your photos, your write-up, and think about how maybe they're not portraying you in the most accurate way.
That makes total sense. I have a friend actually who got divorced, and she went on the dating apps and had some success, but wasn't in the same place that they were. One of them that she had a fairly long relationship with, he was ready to settle down and she had just gotten out of a relationship. She was like, no. So after, not a tremendous amount of successes, she just said, you know what, I'm just going to hang out on my own for a while. And she's totally good with that.
Yeah.
So Dr. Elyse, there are people out there who need your help. What is the best way for them to find you?
I actually created a free download for your listeners called 20 Unforgettable Tips for the Perfect First Date. And it starts off by how to psych yourself up for this experience all the way to the next day and how to follow up and everything in the middle. So I'll give you the link. I'm assuming, you'll put it in the show notes. And all listeners have to do is head right on over there and check it out. And of course, I'll also give you my website and private Facebook group. So people can start getting lots of content for free. Life is hard. And I really believe that we all need to work together to help each other out and make it as easy as possible. So I love to connect with your listeners, and I can't wait for their tomorrow to begin right now.
This is so inspiring. I can't wait to share all your links. So all the links will be in the show notes. My last question for you, Dr. Elyse, is if you could provide the world one tip to make it a better place, what would that be?
My tip would be to really listen when somebody is sitting across from you and talking. While they're talking, stop yourself from thinking about the next thing you're going to say or wondering when it's going to be your turn to talk. Instead, make eye contact, maybe lean in a little bit, because you never know when someone just needs that moment to be seen. It costs you nothing, but can mean everything.
I love that. I think that's perfect because it's true. Even when you're in a meeting, sometimes you're thinking about what am I going to say next? Well, how am I going to react to that? But if we can all just stop and listen to the person that's across from us, we're going to be able to help them more. They're going to be able to help us more. And it just will work to everyone's benefit.
Absolutely.
So, Dr. Elyse, we appreciate you, what you do, who you're helping. And thank you so much for joining me today.
Jeanne, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us today on Blueprints for Brilliance Coaching Insights. We hope you're leaving this episode with inspiration to take your coaching business and your life to the next level. If you found value in this episode, we would love it if you would subscribe and share it with someone else who you think might benefit from hearing it. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next episode.